Only for a little bit. Bungle made a mistake and forgot that they had a appointment, the purpose engagement, whatever you want to call it, at this time. But they said that they should be able to be on by 8. So it's just me for like half an hour and then they will come on board. So we're just gonna start and then my hope is everyone NaNo that's going so far, how are people's goals going. Also, I'm sure it's already from this week, but it's cold here now. We have definitely hit our it's early 55. This morning I had to wake up early because I forgot to leave something at my dad's, and the schools are celebrating Veterans Day today, so I went to the hospital. She was with him, but I forgot something, so they came to pick up the thing that I forgot to leave. So I woke up really early to give it to them, and it was like 40 something. I don't remember. It was like 40 something. It was, for me, it might as well have just been my desert, rat, skin, blood, whatever. No, not it. So I have a blanket. It's so Halloween blanket. I have a blanket. Which was more of an experiment because I've had last year I was doing almond milk hot chocolate and I didn't love the way the warmed almond milk tasted. It didn't necessarily taste like toasted almonds, but also just tasted weird. This one tasted better, so I didn't go to stick with that. Because if I didn't like it, I was gonna try coconut. I really only like coconut for cooking, not like drink. But it's vanilla soy milk with no sugar added. Yeah. But onto NaNo, as I'm rambling about the cold and complaining when I'm sure other places are going for colder. I am currently at 8,784 in my I already see a problem with this being a short read, but I have mentally decided, and I'm not thinking about it. That's what I have mentally decided. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking. I'm just going to write until the work is done, whether it's at the end of the piano or, I finish it November. December, I need to at least finish this by before New Year's, because beginning of the year needs to be the published project to pass the class. But I'm just gonna write until it's done, and then if it's too long, it needs to be like a novella instead of a short read, then we'll go with that. But I have decided we're just going to write the story. I'm just going to get it out, and then I'll make hard decisions later. I don't know. I'm very excited for this, and if that's what ends up happening, that's what ends up happening. But yeah. Oh, also, I should have a link. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. Obviously not. Let me that's not what I wanted. Let me get a link. I just put out, even though if you've been on the streams, you already kind of know a little bit about it. But new video that's about the NaNo project. So you can go check that out if you want. It's just talking about Project Blasphemy, a little bit more detail. I feel like if you were here for the kickoff, you could mostly what we talked about with a little bit more detail specifically. So, but yes, I finally put out my official announcement for NaNo today. I did say it was going to come out no later than this week, and it's literally right behind it. Luckily, for short video, I didn't talk much about video, so I easily could put it in today. But I also didn't add too many things to it, like graphics, music, and stuff, so that also makes editing the video. Should we have our lights moving? Do we want rotating lights? That one? This one? We'll do that and see how that works right now. I feel like it looks weird. For some reason today. Maybe because I can like that. All right. Well, let's start set up a 15-minute jumping timer because we're still going to continue on with normal stuff, even though let me switch over. It works. Why didn't it pick a video? Video. We'll do this in Q. Use 15-minute increment and win. All right. 15 minutes. And 1, 2, 3, and How did everybody do? If you want to share, remember to save your work. I'm currently doing that now. I started a new chapter, so I'm in the middle of it. In the middle of the scene. Laying groundwork for my characters to explain to their what they know chapters. That's always fun. How do you know the person supposed to be a stranger? All of you. Not a stranger. Already full out time. I know Laura has to catch up. Oh, and also we had Bungle is running late. They will show up eventually, they said. They forgot about our engagement. Oh, we can do what we're going to do. No commercial. Forget a commercial. Start. Yeah. Okay. But, so, check Twitch. Yes, some nights there. But yeah, that's what I had to remember where I left. Honestly, I was like, I read the last sentence, the dialogue sentence in the previous chapter, and I was like, huh? I'm confused. So I had to go back and read a couple more lines to be like, where was I actually at? I don't remember. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I had to really decide, do I want to keep the conversation going, or do I want to end it, start a new chapter, and go to the PvP? And I decided to start a new chapter, go to the PvP, and address the other side's comments, and carry the conversation from that. I do feel bad though, because I feel like Lucian has not had a lot of time in the book so far. And so the whole intercourse scene was in their POV, so I missed a good amount of time. I don't know, I just feel like Elena's scene last time took a lot. But I guess maybe it's because it's kind of intense. Maybe that's why it's just intense. It is now Elena's turn to explain how she was conceived. That's always a fun conversation, I would imagine. Never had that conversation. I forgot it's a fun conversation to have. How do you acknowledge to yourself and others that you're supposed to be mortal enemy, but it's glorious when I stand in your life? But you've already told your friends, but now there's a baby situation. Yeah, that's the conversation. Yeah. So much fun. Alright, let's get a... Oh, I know, we can play the sneakies. What is it? Title sneakies? It's not really see if we can all not be started. And 1, 2, and go. When I saw it changed, I thought it was another company. So, how did it review? What was the line? I'm gonna put them up anytime. I'm sure if we can't but I also love the concept. So I have sort of finished. I feel like I finished. I think and then after the chapter, I guess. Yeah. The blue pill is what I did. In the story. Also, if suddenly I have to stop writing, I'm waiting for my sensor to die so that I can set up my where I have it and put it over left. Keep the sticker on, it's still over. I'm gonna. Oh my god. I don't like doing myself. I know I've seen it on Instagram in the commercial, but I was not. So I had nothing to do before. That isn't bad. So I have to wait for that. I think it was like reading pictures. So but yeah, seem reaching for things or yeah, that's good. That's to shot my equipment. I'll probably turn the screen on. Hopefully it will be a distraction. What can you do? The house one really sucks to be I never have much. But penguins. Oh, the sweater weather one. Some more teapots. Well, winter soccer clip. It's not my favorite one. Something different. All right. 25 minutes. Let's go ahead and start. And 1, 2, 3, and go. Let's print it. You have to change out my scene. Oh, this one's done. Each are the scene. Scene number. Oh, yeah. Don't have to worry about that. Please let me know they are coming. So, I believe about this one. I feel like it's finished. Six. Remember, always say your phone. Always say your phone. Who is not? So this is before the time I'm supposed to play other than on the project. Hey, anywhere from Harvard and not. I'm definitely doing this. I never thought I'd be someone that would write in the smallest amount of repetitiveness. And I'm pretty pleased. The total not last week thing is the like scandal. Yeah, there we go. Scandal of the time. Love it. And what I want to try in the future, I'm barreling forward to a specific scene that I'm so excited right now. I'm just not sure what viewpoint I want it to be. If I want it to be a scene in Vegas viewpoint, but I'm definitely like a million times touching on some religious things and like I'm just slightly like rubbing shoulders with it, but I'm not gonna go fully explore it because it's not that story. I'm not trying to call out shit. I'm just being like, oh look, like it's a theme, like a museum. Oh look at that thing with a bunch of images. But people will, if you are from religion, organized religion, Christian religion, or like or even if you're currently in Christian religion and are able to acknowledge like the bad parts of it, I'm definitely calling shit out. But yeah, it's fun, really fun, super enjoyable. So I totally just gave this poor little girl who works in the house that the characters are being forced to live in the scare of her life because the main friends who are both them essentially one is non-binary and an identical woman are together as a couple and we had to like nicely let this little baby over together it was so funny to just write and acknowledge that this person is shocked by it. Even though it's so funny. Woo! Woo! Hello! We have friends now.
Hello, hello. How are things today?
Things are going good so far. I hope your year went well.
Oh man, I have never seen Blunder so drunk. Took a little bit longer than expected to drag him back.
Fair. You might want to raise your volume just a little bit.
Sure thing. Hold on, I can do that.
I have music going, but I did lower it. I don't know if you can comment on how your volume is, but...
Oh. I know where it is. How's that?
That sounds better. Yeah.
All right, cool. I can go a little bit louder than that. Let's see, where's the chat today?
Right now, everyone's in, but you can also see it. They're learning, which is fine. So where are you at in your story so far in the sense of words you can share?
Like right around 10,000, so behind.
No, well, you're ahead of me. So
Oh,
I started the night at 8,000 and something. Now I'm at 9,000.
nice.
Still ahead of me. I know technically for the nanos.
Yeah, I know, because you're supposed to like get between 1,000 and 2,000 words a day.
It's
That's crazy.
1,600 and
Delete words.
9 or something like that, or 96, or it's something along those lines. I am not one of those people that has the amount memorized because I don't worry about word count usually. And this is the first like true nano I've done in quite a long time where I probably should care and memorize the number because usually I'm a rebel.
It's I'm pretty sure, yeah, that it's somewhere around 1667 that they say to hit a day. I'm bad at even just updating my word count every day.
Oh yeah. If I update it tonight before I go to sleep, Nano's gonna think I've updated it twice, potentially, because I didn't update it.
Yeah, that'll be achievement if I do that too.
We used to be able to put the dates for when we were adding so that you could technically add every day, even if you didn't add that day but did write, you could like back chart it, but they
Oh, really?
like one of the updates that they have done to the website, and a lot of people were complaining.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, but can't do it anymore. I'd rather have that than the options to be like, oh, is your writing session so happy or sad? Or like, I'd rather be able to like pick my dates. I do like the time of it, especially if you're like a strict sprinter. If you're doing it per session versus like per total word count, which is what I'm doing, then having the like time segments there is nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, would you like to slightly go easy, or because I was going to do a 20-minute timer, or is that good?
I am good to dive right in. Let's go for the hard stuff.
Okay. Let's see. Let's do QM. I've already done some like seasonal things.
Then we'll figure out if we're actually have our plans where they're going, or we at least where we thought they were going.
Yeah. Well, I've written the January for very much. So here we go. All right, guys.
20 minutes.
All right, 20 minutes to Emmy Boy, and 1, 2, 3.
Oh boy.
I'll have to change it up. Or that one switches over quickly. It doesn't have like a little bit of a lag for me to hit pause.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the YouTube countdowns is getting an ad at the end there.
Yeah. Well, I also know that she is not monetized. No. First of all, no ad free. Bad YouTube. Second of all,
so
I was like, it needs a couple seconds just so I can pause so it doesn't roll into the next video.
oh, that's sad to have advertisements on your videos now and not even get anything for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of YouTubers that do timers that, because we all use the timers in the community, they get a lot of views. So YouTube's like, oh, these are popular, we should put ads on them. But the actual author tuber is not monetized. So they're ads, but they're not getting anything out of it. Just YouTube's getting it.
Maybe I should make a couple. That does seem like it'd be fun.
Yeah. I have some stock stuff that I keep wanting to turn into timers.
But anyway, Hazelnut over here says 218 words. Oh my gosh, blowing us away.
Are you not working at NaNo Project Hazelnut? You said you were going to switch over. I am closing in on a scene, and I still haven't fully decided if I want to stay in Ovega's point of view or if I want to switch to.
So I was working on like a couple of different parts. Like I keep going back and forth between what I'm actually working on. And I got to say that I really was cheating on this one because I have like a bracket part that just says insert child asking semi-adult question. And then the next line is insert insightful answer.
It's not cheating. It's resourceful. Make sure you don't stop too long and get distracted into the people suck you in the sixth room. Usually people do that because they don't want to look up something on YouTube. I mean, not on YouTube, on Google, and then get lost in like research.
Yeah.
That's bad. It's not cheating.
Well, it feels like cheating because I'm going to feel bad if I forget about that later, come back to it weeks from now and go, oh, shoot, I never did come up with that question.
You'll come with it eventually. Yeah, I'm working on the other one. I'm about to start. Ooh, a fight scene, and those give me a lot of.
Ooh.
Yes.
I love fight scenes.
I did for Project Elf, my dark fantasy love story. I totally played on a trope of where the whole idea of like dancing is romantic and can be sexual and stuff, but played on that same thing of like where in Karate Kid he showed him how to dance through karate, like through fighting. I had a whole scene where the main character, she was teaching the love interest a specific fighting move that she learned from her time on Earth, and I played it as it being very sensual, and that idea of like, oh, fighting can be just as sexy, and it's more sexy when one person doesn't realize what's happening versus dancing. You acknowledge this whole situation is sexy, like the two of you are aware of it, but the idea of like she's concentrating on teaching him, but he's like trying to learn and also very aware of, oh, she's very close and her body is like here, and everyone else in the room also can see, but she's just blind to the whole situation. But it's very unintentionally sexual, but also sexual at the same time.
So it's interesting that you say that, because I always felt that fight scenes and sex scenes kind of follow a very similar flow. Like they're actually better when they're kind of like quick, short, almost choppy statements. Like, because you don't want, like, you know, a punch to be too exaggerated, to have, you know, like a huge long sentence describing it. It's supposed to feel like boom, it hit, and then you go on to the next bit. I mean, and there's a buildup too. That, I mean, obviously in a fight scene you can have somebody just get sucker punched out of nowhere, but the Denver really has the, you know, again, like with the sex scene, there's not a whole lot of fulfillment in that. It's like you have the buildup, and then you get to the point where everything's just happening really fast. All the statements are just kind of like flying, and it feels choppy in order to feel like there's speed to it and like an intensity. And then you just throw in like the passions are a little bit different, but I do feel like they have a very similar flow.
I think that's right, except for the fact that you can't still, I think you can still have in a sex scene, depending on if you're trying to go for more of an emotional sex scene versus a carnal physical one, where then use the like longer sentences or the like lingeringness on things, I think works better, because the idea is not just the physical aspect, there's like this emotional connection that's happening, and you have to express that. And I think the best way to express that is to have like a longer lingering sentence versus something like that's choppier, that's very quick, that emphasizes things are going quickly, out of control.
Like, while this is true, and that's absolutely true, I would say for most fight scenes, I still think some of the best fight scenes also integrate the emotions of the participants, because some of the best fights is when you end up with people that were either once allies, or the primary villain that has some very ingrained relation with the hero, and it's not just a physical clash but an emotional one as well. And in that sense, you do have like the actual blows are quick, but the sentiments linger, and so you still end up with a lot of, and that can feel like a very intense and powerful, especially like climax finale to how everything ends up afterwards.
Yeah, I can see that, but I feel like those are more like those fight scenes are for very specific things, like a final fight scene, or the final fight scene for the character arc before they start a new arc, like you said, where maybe they're finally leaving that enemy's arc and going into the friend's arc or whatever. I think those are very specific versus in sexual scenes. If your book is a more emotion heavy romantic arc, then you're gonna have a lot of like emotional sexual scenes. They're not all gonna be passions of crazy night, and you're just gonna be craving touch, and you're gonna just be sweating.
No, you're totally right, because that is really saved just for the kind of fights that are very much something that curves that where the result of it curves the outcome of an entire story. So I agree with you completely there.
Because I would say like sweet, spicy comments and stuff like that. There's still like sex on page and it's still described, but it's definitely more emotional than physically heated body and stuff. And it's also not vaguely mentioned or close to word like clean, which I still hate that word, but clean romance. I'm gonna call it sweet. I feel like I would more call it sweet, because clean just sounds because there's nothing inherently dirty or nasty about
no
but we still, as like romance community, like reading romance books, there's still this clean, and then everything else is like,
No, I get what you mean by that. I mean, yeah, because I was like, that's complicated because you're getting into like perception, and everybody's going to look at it a little bit different. But I do still think that any good sensual scene should dig up a lot of emotions. I'm like, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Well,
oh my gosh, I'm like, I'm at this part of my story right now that I don't want it to get like too heavy and feel too depressing, but I'm like dealing with a character who's dealing with so much loss, and I'm like, I'm trying to find the appropriate amount to get across the loss that they're feeling without lingering on it for so long that it brings everything down. I'm just like,
you are again just either however you define it as a zero draft, or if you're just first drafting. It's the beginning. So if you need to, you can just make it heavy, and then later Bungle can deal with trying to fix it so it doesn't do that, or you lean into it more.
That's a future Bungle problem.
Maybe the scene does need that. Maybe even though you don't think it does at the time, later you read it and you're like, oh, maybe actually it does need this emotion to reflect whatever the next thing is.
No, thank you. That's good advice, because yeah, there's so many times that you're like, you know, when you're writing it, you feel like, I know this is something that's happening, but maybe by the time the chapter's done, it's like, oh, well, it's not really necessary to get the gist of the chapter through. So, no, totally right.
There's always later editing. Later editing, you may hate you for your noun decision, but that's their problem at that point, and you're not there yet. No, we're not there yet. This is NaNo. We're just writing the whole not to fix things. Unless you're really actually editing, then it's a downy problem. But neither one of us are there. We're drafting.
Oh boy. All right. But yeah, I think I'm liking where this is going. I just have to keep it going. So here we go. Are you ready for the next bit?
Yeah, we're gonna do 25 minutes. Change the music. Alright, we're gonna do a Christmas cookie or a holiday cookie. Because it is a thing.
Beautiful.
And 1, 2, 3, yes.
Well, how'd you do?
Oh, I finished my chapter and decided to go into the scene review. I'm still going to do the specific scene I want in Oveja's point of view. I'm just going to make myself pointless.
Well, congratulations on finishing a chapter. That is super, super awesome.
Thank you. We had people show up. Hannah showed up, and Hula readers. Hula reads their words. But yes, how did you do?
I was a bad boy. I was a very, very bad boy.
Distracted?
No, I went back and filled in those my brackets that I left in the last print.
You couldn't leave them?
I couldn't. My brain wouldn't let me just leave it for another day. I was like, it was bugging me too much. I'm like, I've got to put something there. I think I came up with something good, but I was just like, oh, why does my brain do this to me?
It happens. You need more practice.
I mean,
539 words.
Oh my God. Wow, hazelnut. That's amazing.
My team is winding down.
Oh.
Who reads? One tried a novel, but my stories keep reaching their conclusion at around 20.
Oh.
Like a short story. Well, if you have
nothing wrong with that.
On AuthorTube, right now there's a lot of people on the bandwagon of writing short reads for Kindle. And as I've done some research for that, it is popular, and 20K is roughly around, I think, the 90-minute mark for the short reads, and those are really popular now. Right now, Des from Copy Reading Writing, who writes under the Des LeRae pen name with Tiffany, and I don't remember Tiffany's YouTube channel's name. They write under the 90 minutes. All of their stuff is 90 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, you can do that and just publish under Kindle's short reads section. So there's nothing wrong with that. As long as it's a complete story, there's nothing wrong with it.
So I gotta confess that literally this week there was a day that instead of working on my NaNo Wrimo story, I had a dream the other night, and it was the first time in years, I want to say, that I have actually woken up from a nightmare with, like, I actually screamed when I woke up. It was like I got jump scared in my sleep. And so when I got up the next day, instead of working on my story, I actually had to write it down as like a quick horror story. And it was like an under 1,000 character horror story just from this like dream that I had. And so I'm thinking that Blunder and I are actually going to read it on our YouTube channel sometime soon, just as like one of our next horror things.
Yay! That's interesting. That's like
it has to do with masks.
When it's that short, I think I'm not that expert. Laura is that expert. That, though she's not here because she's sleeping because it's sleeping. But
I was like, yeah, sometimes horror stories can be really good, even though they're short. Not that I'm saying that mine's going to be at all good, but I feel like at least Blunder got freaked out when he read it. He was like, yeah, that's scary. I was like, yeah, that's why it woke me up in the middle of the night.
Well, his book is she's really good at the fight scenes, which is awesome. Oh, it's Flash. Okay, there. It's Flash fiction, not a drama. I feel like at this point in the writing sphere universe, especially with self-publishing as an option, lots more people are way more open to, like, as long as something is a complete story, people will read anything, no matter how long or how short something is.
Content.
Yes. I want to write about vampires, werewolves, witches, and fae, but I think I need a lot of words to introduce all of them, and not to do it too fast. Well,
Oh, no.
how you want to do it. You can write a bunch of short stories in the same universe. And
oh my gosh, yes.
Introduces your vampires. The second one introduces your witches, and then the next one introduces the next supernatural creature, and so on and so forth. And along each story, you're stringing along in like an overall plot line of like why whatever is happening is whatever is happening in this universe. So,
and I mean the other. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that since those are kind of like, you know, the kind of supernatural entities that don't need like a lot of explicit backstory, just because most people, when you talk about vampires, werewolves, and witches, already have a lot of preconceived notions. And if what you're doing is either building off of that or subverting that, it can be really easy to take that, create a story out of it without needing to go into like details about, you know, what they are and what they're doing. It's like, it's a vampire. We know that they're out there to feed. It's a werewolf. There's either a moon or something that triggers them to transform. So we can go straight into what are they doing rather than how did they get here.
Yeah, I mean, my Kindle Available will be out in 2 weeks. Bungle has vampires and other beings that they haven't gotten to yet, because I haven't written about them yet. But the vampire, I don't do a lot of explanation. Really, I'm gonna touch a little bit more on a couple of other things, but there's not a lot of explanation because it's very generic. It's like probably what you think a vampire is what my character is, versus my other character, which is the succubus, is not a very common paranormal creature, and there's a lot more focus on, besides her being the main character of the 2 main characters,
yeah,
a lot more focus on her and her abilities and how her powers work and how she functions in the world, because it's not a normal like paranormal creature that people are aware of, and if people are aware of it, there's a lot of things that people think how they function is actually not how they function. And then I also have my own spin on her abilities too. So
But I also want to say, like, just because I like the way that you've done your story a lot, is that you really refrained from the exhibition of what are these characters, even the succubus. Like, there isn't a lot of exactly that, the exhibition of what is it, what do they do, blah, blah, blah. It's sort of it's the show don't tell aspect, and that's important even in words, that rather than taking all this time before to lay down ground rules, it's sort of like what the character is and is capable of is being developed as we go, instead of, you know, getting the big golden rules before the story. And I really prefer to go along with it that way and learn as, you know, what is this character doing as the character does it, rather than, and I feel like that's kind of like, you know, it's like the sports car approach to being a story writer, that we're seeing them develop, we're seeing them actually do cool things and learning their limits and things while actually seeing them in action. And it just makes the story feel much more exciting to me.
Yeah, and you can do that also with your short stories, your short reads, where, like, let's say your first book is you're introducing the vampire and you're talking about them and their story, but then in the next one where you're introducing, let's say, your witch, you can then touch on how do witches and vampires interact very slightly, so there's still this merge of, like, it's one giant story that you're just telling in pieces, but each piece is still its own story at the same time. So a vampire and werewolf. Well, yeah, and they are able to conceive, but their biology is compatible enough to cure the child to term. So yeah, you can totally do that. I mean, you can write. You can even write the whole point of like the first book is them meeting and them getting together, and then the second book is more about their life and trying to conceive, and that's when the witch shows up. And especially because if your stories are within that like 90-minute or 20K zone, just focus on what is that point here, and then how does that bleed into the next book, and then your point there, and then however many you can continue in a series. Because that's how series work usually, especially if something is continuous and out.
Yeah, and I really like the aspect of that being like, even if the witch is able to help, like what are the well, my vocabulary is failing me tonight, but it's like, obviously, to quote one of my favorite fairy tale characters, magic always comes at a price, dearie.
Oh my god, I flashback to that. But yeah, exactly. You can play on that. How do they interact? Do witches get along more with vampires but not with werewolves? So there's like a little bit of a problem where, does this witch really want to help them? Like she's okay helping the vampire, but the fact that the werewolf is also part of this relationship, there's a lot of things you can touch on, and you can plot that out through a lot of different stories, and still keeping within your like 20K that you just naturally write to. You just have to remember the story has to plot along the consistency of each story. Oh, what is that from?
Oh, yes. So Hazelnut, that is Rumpelstiltskin from the Once Upon a Time series from ABC. Oh my gosh, how old is that series now?
I remember my sister being obsessed with it. I do remember that when it first came out. That's why I definitely remember. Ooh, somebody knows the dark one.
The dark one. With the dagger of Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an. I guess I could say it's middle. Let's see. Do I remember what grade I was in? No, I don't. So that's not.
Yeah, I just feel like it was so long ago now. I need to stop using like reference. Like I feel like there was the longest time when because I know.
The show.
There was because like Death Battle that makes like all of like takes the characters and makes them fight on the internet. One of the things that I kept sending them like all of these messages that I was like, please, I want to see a battle between the Dark Lord Voldemort versus the Dark One Rumpelstiltskin, and just to see how that would turn out. I just feel like that would have been awesome because they were both just so undefined as far as their limitations.
Let's see. I'm thinking the baby is carried to term. The baby is born as that'd be interesting. And that could be where like the magic plays that this is the only way that this can work.
Oh, the consequence is a baby without supernaturalisms.
Yes, that too. But I would also say, as a caveat, because you're really talking about like conceding issues when you're writing this, if I believe in content warnings, if you're going to write this and you do believe in that, make sure that there is something there that says people who maybe have trauma with conceiving, maybe need to be aware that something like that is going to be talked about. Just to put that out there. Someone who does believe in content warnings, whether it's dark fiction or not. I haven't seen that series, heard about it, never seen it. Oh, yeah. Hazelnut remembers Death Battle.
But Death Battle, ba 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 ba.
want to do a 20-minute one?
I'm ready. I think I can actually get some words done now that I've figured out what my question was. Was just burning in my head.
I mean, you had to let it out. That's fine. Used to watch it along with my brother when we were younger. Oh, that's cute.
Aww.
Bungle actually was the one that introduced me to that.
Oh, is that so? I spread so much corruption throughout the land. I'm not surprised.
All right, we're gonna do comfy 20-minute timer. This does have ambient noise, so if it's too loud, let me know and I can lower the YouTube volume. But oh wait, let me change
No.
All right, and 1, 2, 3.
3.
Live streaming can be tricky, and sometimes trying to find the right...
Oh, my. What did everybody do?
Oh man.
Continuing to mull over Lucy and Steven's friend's conversation. Should they, won't they talk to each other? Acknowledging the fact that Lucy is creating maybe agenda right now, and there are issues with arousal.
Oh. So yeah. Were you writing something deep?
Like not super deep, but there's like I feel like a subtle, as both Oveja and Steven don't want to fully acknowledge the consequences for like their situation of they're both that they've met before and they haven't like there are things that still need to be talked about that is not happening right now, and Lucian is okay with having a conversation. Really, it's Oveja who's avoiding everything. Had a lot of Trump being the second coming of Jesus. There's a thing that happened earlier in the chapter before that's also like the reason that they're secluding themselves, and so because God is forcing.
I just like that phrase. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, I'm dealing with dysfunctional family dynamics right now at this stage in my story. And I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure this is a lot of that, especially as like your character has lived with their parents or their families over and over again, and sees multiple shades of them.
Yeah, so basically where I am in my story right now, like I'm still barely on the second playthrough. So basically like on my story, since I've got a character who is reliving their life multiple times, they've only gone through everything once, and so now they're on the second time through, and they've made one major change to their life. And that change basically resulted in his parents not separating through dramatic turn of events. But that also means that now they're not exactly getting along. But they're still together.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's hit 473 new words, then got to researching an elder tree.
Elder tree.
Elder trees are interesting. The little bit that I know of is because people are researching them, specifically because of Harry Potter, but they have their own interesting work. And then also, yay, you made your journal go for the day. Awesome. Good job. That is an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I can mention or not, but you mention until the very end. But I am currently at 11K.
Nice.
I probably have already reached. 15 minutes before bedtime. Oh, well, you enjoy and you get to 15 minutes before bed.
Yeah, that's like right at the buzzer. Like it's time for bed. Finished. Ooh.
Right. Is it cold where you're at right now?
Today's been cold. It's interesting. The next couple days are supposed to warm right back up, but at least in our town, today has been a pretty cold day, all things considered.
I was curious if the area was cold. It is cold here. So I was drinking hot chocolate earlier. I was like, well, then why have a blanket? Like, it's just cool. But then it was warm during it was like upper 70s. So I'm like, I can't turn the heater on. Because I feel
around here, it's always like the thing that when it does get cold, it's like it can literally be freezing outside. But if you're standing in the sun is always powerful enough to just blast heat right through you. But the moment the sun is gone, suddenly it's just, nope, it's freezing still.
Except for January. I feel like January is usually like it's cold. Because that's usually when we get our freezes or like it's in the snow. It snows in January. So.
On the east side of town, it's like we always get that one snowstorm blizzard in the middle of April.
That's true. It's random. That's true.
Yeah, it's just, we'll go through all of January, February, and there'll be like a few spitty flakes here and there. It's just like, poof, snow, poof, snow, poof. But then all of a sudden, middle of April, blizzard.
Doing a lot lately. I mean, that's a good goal to have. Be like, I need to finish right before bed, and your body's like, exactly, here you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, that works pretty well. I mean, you still made an amazing word count. So if it's something that you can do to relax, then that's just awesome. Like, I wish that I could make a word count before bed and still be able to like tune my brain down to sleep. But I feel like if I don't have that bit of time to wind down, even after writing, and my brain will still be going, oh my gosh, this will come next and this will come next, and I will still not sleep.
Well, I just I could just go well, I don't actually go to sleep. I've never actually just gone to sleep unless I'm
It's like, that's not how that works.
I have to, that's something that my husband and I had to compromise with. Because I tried for a while to sleep without any sound or music, because that's how I grew up sleeping, and that's what helps my brain adapt to shut down. So like the brain doesn't ever fully shut off. But I had such a hard time the first, like, I want to say couple months where I tried to sleep with nothing, that my husband, who was my fiance at the time, he just gave up. He was like, as long as it's not too loud and it's not obnoxious, you can play whatever you need to sleep. Because I would just toss and turn for hours because I couldn't sleep, and then I'd be super tired for class the next day, because that was when I was still in college. It's like, nope. And now he's just used to there being like some kind of ambient sound going on. He can still sleep with nothing. Like when I worked night shift, he was sleeping with nothing when I wasn't there. But it also no longer bothers him either.
Like, I totally know what you mean. Like, I've been a long time sufferer of tinnitus. And so if there's like no white noise of some kind in the background, then I cannot sleep. So I got these meditation discs. Like, there was a while that I was like, oh, I could get into meditation and do stuff. And so I was like, I thought it would be cool. And then when Blunder, because Blunder's the one that always owns the house and the studio that we live in and stuff like that. And so we ended up having to live in a temporary house that only had one bedroom. So we were sleeping in the same room, and I had my meditation discs on, and one of them had cricket chirping noises. And I found out that Blunder absolutely cannot stand at all the noise of crickets. It's like that is just like the quickest way to just make him go like, nope, stop it right now. So I was like, all right, I removed that disc from the playlist and be like, there will be no more cricket sounds coming from my meditation disc for that. But then like the next one that ended up like really getting to him was like the high end of the meditation disc that I had was like whale songs. And so it'd be, and each disc lasted about an hour. So it would usually be about 3 a.m. that suddenly like my phone or whatever was making the noise would suddenly be like, and then I would like something would be thrown at me from across the room and be like, wake up and turn that off. I feel like I'm being abducted by aliens.
Oh my gosh. Because he's like a light sleeper, right?
I mean, I always thought I was a light sleeper, but it's like, it's interesting that we each have trigger noises that, like, to me, the sound of footsteps or doors opening, closing will, like, if a door opens, I am awake. But with him, he can deal with footsteps, he can deal with doors, but like bugs, insects, like crickets, the sound of like insect wings flying, those will wake him up in a split second.
Fair. Oh wait, so we are in the same world for part of the year. We're in the same time zone. That's right. But it snowed on the 4th of July.
That sounds like Nevada.
Never had that. For sure, April. That snow, I think the latest is like April. Let's see. I have a noise machine that plays rain sounds, yeah, and I have past live streams of different YouTubers. I mean, it's most of them are I found a YouTube station, which is what I play now, but that's ambient sounds with either Studio Ghibli soundtracks that are piano.
Yeah.
I don't like the Disney because I know all the lyrics to everything, so my brain attaches too much to the music. But the Studio Ghibli ones, I don't. And most of those don't have lyrics anyways. So I can listen to the like Studio Ghibli ambient sounds too.
You know which ones that really work for me, like if I just want like a soundtrack to sleep through, is almost anything by Hans Zimmer, like the soundtracks to either Interstellar or Inception. I don't like, they're kind of like these epic orchestral things, but I can literally, like, those will keep me asleep.
I mean, if you're really being attached to like the wave of the music, then yeah, like a big orchestra thing like that would work, because they're like constantly singing and it's constantly like, I have Jacksepticeye's All the Way song as my alarm. Nothing like the Irishman screaming all the way.
All the way, keep on dancing.
I used to have it until I broke my phone, and I've just been lazy about putting it back on. I used to have Robin Williams' "Good Morning Vietnam" because it screams it. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. Very mysterious.
You know, my cousin Augie Lobo, he had an alarm. I don't know if he still has it, but for the longest time, he had an alarm that was Proton John. And of all things, I didn't even think that he was like screaming it very loud, but I remember this video. He was playing the Super Mario World Kaizo ROM hack. And there's this one part where you've got to spin jump on top of the pokey cactus monster in order to get across a spike pit. And he was running out of time, and so he's literally, it's just this noise of Mario spin jumping on its head going donk 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 donk, and Proton John going faster Pokey, faster. And so every morning that was my cousin's alarm that I would hear anytime we went to, like, if we would go vacation in Las Vegas or anything like that, his alarm would go off and I would hear Proton John. I was like, wow, really?
See, I always changed my alarm if I was going to be with other people that weren't family. I don't want to come in. I don't want to be there and so I always changed it to something normal.
You're like, hey, you know what? Somebody's going to be in the bed right next to me. Let me actually use a real alarm. I feel bad saying that, but I'm like, you know, I've kind of done that. I censor like my playlists and things depending on who I'm sharing a room with.
Yeah, like when I would do chaperone, I'd be like, no, I don't want to be that person. It's like the other chaperone does not deserve to hear probably screaming that. Like, we have to get up and get ready for the world. All right, well, let's do, if you're good, let's do a 15-minute timer to kind of end out the night.
Okay. And so I would imagine this means Hazelnut is going to be heading to bed any moment now. So I just want to say, Hazelnut, have a good night and sleep well.
Yes. Good night. See you next time. Have fun. Okay. This timer, I will go flash warning. It's a water storm timer. So if you're
that sounds good.
So 15 minutes, round off whatever we're doing.
15 minutes last sprint. We can do this. We can do this. Okay.
30 and go.
Go. Oh boy.
I am pretty close to ending this. We're on the lead chapter. I feel like it's slightly filler, but I also want to see the chapter. So who knows? It could be a good chapter. That's later's problem.
I mean, I was like that, you know, I understand the notion of filler, but honestly, I almost feel like there's no such thing really that, you know, even chapters that can feel like not a lot of importance happened, you can still sometimes get like things in there, like details that are still very important to things that are to come, like, you know, any little clues, anything that really gives insight into the characters. And I'm like, that's not really filler if we're getting anything about the characters and their motives out of it.
That's true. This chapter definitely understanding Lucia's mental feelings and also their interaction with their demon friend. So
Ooh, nice.
Hazelnuts, not go to sleep. I'll eat chicken nuggets. Which is also
Did still not asleep, Hazelnut. Psh, you're gonna be hazelnut coffee if you stay up much longer.
That's their favorite coffee.
Like it's mine too, so I can relate.
How did you do?
Oh man, I think I worked my way out of like the really deep stuff, and so I'm hopeful that from here on out, like I hit the bottom of the emotional roller coaster for this chapter, so now things can start working their going back up. And so that's always like the hard thing for me, is like trying to figure out where is the bottom of this and is it too deep. And I'm like, all right, I think I've found the place here where it's going to be all right.
That's cool. Oh, excuse me. But I don't know where that was going. My brain is right there.
I feel ya.
Let's see. It's only 10:17 right now. There's still hope.
Oh wow, that's right. I forgot.
Because it feels like we had a time zone switch last month. So you were
Yup, we
behind,
don't switch.
right? Am I doing that math correctly? Because we're 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, behind us.
Because we would have been so I guess as of last, like a couple of weeks ago, we would have been on the same time zone, but now because everybody else switched and we didn't, we're now technically with like the mountain time zone again.
I never keep track of that.
I know, I hate it because since we don't switch here, we never really, they don't make a big deal out of it when people change everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the deductions.
I'm also so glad that being in the nursing field that we don't switch, because I feel so bad for all the nurses that do switch, because specifically like night shift has it such shit from what I've heard. And the like hour that you have to stay extra, and then if you are one of those nurses that's always behind and you have to chart, you're like there for like 17 hours instead of like your normal 16 or some other bull duty that has to happen. Yeah. Yes, you're in Arizona. But
Yup.
also doesn't switch in Puerto Rico, I found out. They also don't do daylight savings time. If I'm remembering correctly what she said.
I was pretty sure that it actually was like in the Senate to like end daylight savings time for the whole country, but I'm not sure if that actually went through.
Yeah, I don't know if it fully got dismissed or if it's still just floating in the ether around them. But yeah, I did hear about something coming to the Senate because the whole point of daylight savings time no longer affects us. So it doesn't affect the majority of the population.
Yeah, but at least in the modern sense, the only real big deal with daylight savings time is to try and conserve electricity by sending people to bed at an earlier hour so that they use less electricity at night, something like that.
Yeah. I think that's where the argument of which way to go is. And yeah, that's what like Hazelnut is saying. The rest of the U.S. can't seem to figure out which time to stay in, spring or winter. Yeah, the last time someone talked about this, that was what somebody was saying too. They're like, oh, but what should they pick and blah blah blah. So because that would also finally affect us if depending on where we're at, they decide to pick a certain space, then that would finally like our clocks.
I know. So it'd be like, would Arizona stay with California or with Colorado? You know, like what would happen? I will say there was like one time when I was in, because when I was a kid, I was like from Arizona, but I had moved to Texas. And so I definitely wasn't used to daylight savings time. But so it was, my mom was kind of like this free-spirited person. So we did technically sleep in late, like not like super, super late, but since it was the Monday after switching to daylight savings time, my mom was like, well, we're already late. Let's just go get breakfast. And so we went and got breakfast, and then she dropped me off at school. And so I walk into the school, like it's literally like an hour late that I'm to class, and walk in, and the teacher's all like, oh, you join us now. And I'm like, I look at my watch and looked up at the teacher. I'm like, but miss, I'm on time. And literally like 12 other kids in the class were like, why didn't I think of that?
But it works only really for someone like you. Like, it's not part of your normal thing. You didn't grow up with it.
It's like, oh. I was like, all I could say was that it wasn't my fault either. It was totally, I would still say that. It was my mom's fault. My mom decided that we needed to go get breakfast for whatever reason that day.
I've heard from like former classmates from high school who went to college in other states where like the first couple of years of dealing with daylight savings time was so hard to like figure out.
Yeah. And then especially embarrassing when you realize you set your clock in the wrong direction. So you're actually 2 hours off of something.
Yeah. I'm really glad that I'm like, I didn't know.
It's like everybody thinks, oh, it's really easy. Just fall back, spring forward. It's like, okay, but if you've never had to deal with that your whole life, don't talk about it like it's super easy. It's like you guys are making this complicated just by having to change the time, while the rest of us is just the time is always the time. Why can't you guys get with that?
Time just continues and we follow it. That's it. We don't manipulate it.
It's like, I prefer it that way.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna end stream friends because life, unfortunately. But do you want to do your outro? No, this one. Want to do your outro?
I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. It has been a blast getting to write with Dolores and all of you guys here today, and I can't wait to come and do this again.
All right, and this is my channel. I'm Dolores, and I write spicy romance under this name, and then I have another pen name of Surabia Madil, where I write erotic romances, and I will have a Kindle coming out in 2 weeks that is not linked down below, but if you go to the announcement video, it is linked there because I didn't think about that. It will be out during Thanksgiving for Amazon, and then on Kofi it will be out a few days earlier. But yeah, you can check all that out down below or on the respective channel. And yeah, I will be back with sprints at some point, maybe Monday. But thank you so much for watching. Greatly appreciate it, and we will possibly see you next time.
Oh, that reminds me real quick. I need help coming up with a pen name. So if anybody can think of a name that would actually be something good that I should put on my stories, send me something to either Instagram or X or Facebook at Bungle It Up or anything like that, and probably check out Blunder and Bungle on YouTube, and then we'll come up with something there.
If you want to, Bungle is linked all down below, but if you want to just leave a comment, I will send it to you. So.
Yeah, leave a comment. What do I look like? What do you think would be a good pen name for somebody like this? I would love to get some opinions.
You gotta say what genre you're writing. Sometimes pen names are based on genre.
So fantasy, sci-fi, and all rounder. It would have to be, you know, something that would just be able to fit into multiple categories. Oh, that's so hard. What am I doing?
General name. General name. All right. You guys all have a mission. Leave comments or DMs or whatever anywhere. And yeah. Bye.
Bye.